Hey, what's up everybody? On today's episode, I'm going to share a talk I got to give to a good friend of mine, Allison Maslin's Pinnacle Global Network Group. We went into vertical integration, we went into the power of relationship capital, and we went into being change ready. I share what we had to do to pivot during COVID, and I can't wait to hear what takeaways you guys get and how you apply it to your business. And I really hope you enjoy this episode.
All right, so without further ado, I am very excited to introduce our first speaker today. Are we ready? Are we ready? Good? Okay. Yeah, you guys are going to be so blown away with our guest here, Jeff Fenster. He is an award-winning entrepreneur, best-selling author, podcast host. I was just recently on his podcast, excited about that. An expert in relationship capital. His entrepreneurial success is vast, ranging from a quick-serve restaurant chain, payroll and HR company, digital marketing agency, and a construction company. But no matter what venture that Jeff pursues, he lives by the principle of putting people first. And he is definitely this way. This is what I personally have experienced. And he was named a top 100 entrepreneur in America, top 40 executive under 40 by the Business Journal, and top entrepreneur to follow in 2022. His acclaimed podcast, The Jeff Fenster Show, features successful entrepreneurs, celebrities, athletes sharing their insights and their stories of success. Today, Jeff speaks around the country on entrepreneurial mindset, on authentic networking, and vertical integration. What is that? You're going to find out. So let's give it up for Jeff Fenster. Welcome. Have fun.
Thank you. Hi everybody. That's not very high energy. I'm bionic, come on. Hi everybody. So, I'm a curious guy and I would always be sitting there going, what is wrong with his arm? I'll just quickly get it out the way. I tore my bicep last 10 days ago and had surgery, so I'm bionic. But thank you guys so much for having me. First and foremost, a round of applause for you because we're all entrepreneurs and business leaders and this is where we make tremendous strides in all of our growth. And taking the time out of our busy lives to come and be around not only our fellow entrepreneurs, but to be in a room and learn. And I'm sure all of you have had wonderful experiences in your business and terrible experiences in your business, and it all starts with this. And also a round of applause for Allison for this event and what she's putting on. So I'm not going to really bore you too much with my background other than I have a very simple perspective on entrepreneurship and what it means to be a leader of a company and kind of what that means. And to me, it just simply means problem solving. And when you scale everything away from what you do, because so often I say to a fellow entrepreneur, what do you do? I'm a chef, I'm an accountant, I'm a construction, I'm a blank. Well, really, you're all entrepreneurs. And the second you stop thinking about yourself as an entrepreneur is when your business stops growing, scaling, pivoting, being able to change, being able to expand and add more zeros to the corporate bank account and enable you to hire and empower more people to create generational wealth for yourself and your entire team and hopefully do some cool stuff in the world. Having figured out that I'm just a problem solver, then it's like, okay, what do we need to do to solve problems? And so what I like to teach in vertical integration today is to help you guys look at something differently. So as we're going through this, I'm just going to ask you to remove all preconceived notions. I'm not going to give you a lot of theory. I'm going to actually take you through how I've used it and how a simple mindset can create multiple 7, 8, and 9-figure businesses that allow you to achieve everything you want to do and also make you kind of recession and crazy macro event proof. Because the truth is, and I hate to say it, the biggest opportunity is when the world's in trouble. COVID was a huge opportunity. The Great Recession was a huge opportunity. High inflation and everyone is struggling is a huge opportunity. Now, we don't want that, because I don't want my friends and family members and peers to be struggling and it to be hard. It's great when it's a booming economy, but it's hard to separate yourself in a booming economy because everyone's winning. And that's when all the new businesses and new competitors pop up and everyone has access to everything. So how do you make sure that your business, your plan, is stable and ready survive, and then thrive. And we've all heard the old adage, 9 out of 10 businesses fail. But that's because 9 out of 10 businesses don't have a formula that allows them to survive. So before I get into it, I'm going to show a video. I show this video on stages all around the country. If you've seen it, I'm going to beg you to not say a word or make a sound. And if you've never seen it, give me 1 minute, and then you can go back to your text and emails if you're doing it, where you are completely involved in this one simple video exercise. Because this video, when I first saw it right out of law school, changed my life. And it changed my perspective. And I'll tell you, the 2 reasons that I've been able to win in business, one is what I've learned from this video, and then the second is relationship capital, which is what you guys are already doing here. So, are we ready? Yes. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to see a video, and you're going to watch some people bouncing a basketball, and all I want you to do is count how many times the people wearing white pass the basketball. That's it. Everybody got it? Got it. Any questions? No. Okay.
This is a test of selective attention. Count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball. How many passes did you count?
13.
All right, who says 13? Who says 14? Who says 15? Who says 16? Who says 17? Anyone else say anything else? 12? Okay, 10? All right, fun fact, we're in a room full of very smart people. We just watched somebody passing a basketball and we have 8 answers. Second, did you see the gorilla?
Yes.
Who didn't see the gorilla? And be honest, because I did not see the gorilla and most people don't. So for those of you who didn't see the gorilla, during this video, while we were trying to count basketballs, a gorilla walked across the stage, pounded his chest, and walked off. And the correct answer is 50. 15. 1 5. I'm going to show you the gorilla.
But did you see the gorilla? This video is promising.
So here's the takeaway. Number 1, as smart as we all are, and as focused as we all are on whatever our objective and mission is, we can still be wrong because we all got different answers to 15 basketballs being passed. But most importantly, and number 2, because you were so focused on your task or your objective or your goal or your mission, you can miss something as big as a gorilla walking across the stage and banging his chest. And so when you realize that what you're missing, you miss more of what is going around you because you are too focused on your business. And Allison kind of mentioned this at the beginning this morning about, are you able to sometimes get out of your business to think about your business? Because when you are too in the forest, and you all heard that old adage, you miss the forest for the trees, because you're too in it, you're too focused on one thing. And even when you're that focused on one thing, you can still get it wrong. And perspective, one blink at the wrong time, you miss one of those passes, right? And all of a sudden your brain's playing tricks on you. And that is why businesses get in trouble, and why we don't scale, and why we don't grow, and why these big macro events can crush us. And it's not because we don't have good intentions, it's not because we don't have a good team, it's because we are either too focused on one single thing without having the ability to be aware of the gorilla, and understand that we need to be open to learning new things, and our perception has to go wide, not too focused. You have a team of people that you hire, they can go focused and narrow. But if you are the leader, and your leaders that you hire to lead different departments, divisions, your company, you need to make sure that they are having a very wide view. Because what scares me the most is not what I don't know. What scares me the most is what I think I know to be true and it isn't. Because if I had asked all of you to bet me $100 you could count how many times people wearing white pass a basketball, I'd be walking out here with a lot of money. And you'd be very sure, no, I watched it. It was 13, it was 18, it was 17. It's just the way our eyes work. It's human nature. It's just, unfortunately, because we have 2 eyes, 2 ears, and a lot of things going around us, we don't have the ability to always be sure what we saw is true. And that is what can really damage you. So we're going to talk about vertical integration. And what that simply means to me is understanding that I can start any company, a restaurant. So I started a restaurant chain, it's called Everbowl. We have 100 of them around the country, a couple hundred more coming. I'm not a chef. And when I started that, it's an acai bowl chain. We sell superfoods. It's phenomenal. If you've never been, please go. But regardless, I'm not a chef. 9 out of 10 restaurants fail. Why? Because they're started by chefs. That's why. They know how to make great food. They don't know how to scale and grow business. Whatever all of you do, the core foundations of scale and growth are the same. The foundational principles, like when you go to business school, they don't have a different business class on accounting regardless of what your trade is. Accounting principles apply to all businesses. Well, can you attract customers? Can you attract talent? Can you attract capital if you need it, or investors? Can you understand marketing? Do you understand P&L? Do you understand a balance sheet? Can you generate a product at a cost and sell it at a higher cost? All of those are foundational principles. It doesn't matter what you do. Whether I make an acai bowl, or I have a construction company, or I built an HRIS platform in a digital marketing agency. The business principles are the same. So we are actually all in the same business in this room. Which means all of us we're all a fraternity. Right? We all have the same business problems. It's just what we do, that little vehicle is different. And so vertical integration changed my whole life, because what I started to learn from all the big guys, the big public companies, because one life hack that I learned early is public companies is an easy cheat code for your industry. And the reason it's a cheat code is they're public. They're obligated once a quarter to have their leadership team talk to the public about the challenges they faced, their plan for the next quarter, and try to attract your money to invest in their company through the public markets. So if you're not listening to the quarterly calls of the companies in your industry and learning from them, you're just missing out on a huge insight and visibility to companies that have a lot of money and a lot of intelligent humans. But when I was listening to them and learning from them in all of my different industries, I started to realize the biggest companies in the world are vertically integrated. And what that means is, what part of your company are you relying on another company as a vital piece? Example, we use McDonald's. They sell a lot of hamburgers. If they were buying meat from me, and I had Jeff's meat factory, meat farm, well, come on, Jeff's meat, we'll just stick with that. They are always subject to me. So if I have a business issue, a supply chain issue, a family issue, and I can't give them the meat, then you go to McDonald's and you don't get your hamburger. So they are always vulnerable to me. Number two, I can now get very mean. I know they need me. I can raise my prices. So McDonald's is vertically integrated. They have their own meat farms. They have their own chicken farms. They actually are the largest toy distributor in the world. They don't even sell any toys, because they give away toys in the Happy Meal. They're the largest or second largest real estate company in the world. They have vertically integrated the most important components of what they do. Costco, Kirkland brand, we all know them. You see Qualcomm, Amazon acquire all of the different departments inside of their organization. You always hear about their acquisitions. So you can acquire companies when you're that big. Or if you're a serial entrepreneur like myself, you can start companies, because that's what I like to do. So what do I do to do that? I look at what are my critical business repeatable problems that I'm going to need to do and solve over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm going to either go acquire, or I'm going to start a division that's going to apply to that. And I'm going to take you through how I did that by telling you the story of my most recent and current endeavor, Everbowl, and what that has allowed me to do, and how it's allowed COVID to be the best moment in the company history, and I was a restaurant, and how it allowed me to create a 9-figure and an 8-figure spinoff, one of them which is bigger than Everbowl now. And I wanted to tell you this story because it's easy for me to give you principles, but how do you apply it? And I have spent a lot of time in rooms learning and sitting where you are, and I always go, that's great, but how do I apply it? And I have to spend a lot of time figuring out how to take that lesson and implement it in my business. And so if it's worth the time for everybody for the next 25, 30 minutes, I'm going to help you guys see that, and hopefully you can take that same lesson, go back to your business and say, how can we be more vertically integrated so we can protect ourselves from all the macro potential risks and actually grow a lot inside? Yes? Sure. When you think about a company, you have whatever you do. I'm a restaurant. So where do I get all my supplies? So where do I get my food? So I'm going to buy it from suppliers. So that supply is horizontal, is not integrated because I need other companies. So to vertically integrate means to take that problem, that repeatable business problem, and bring it inside of my company. So vertically, my organization is integrated from every element of what I need to deliver my product or good or service to you. I'll show. It'll make more sense in 5 minutes. So as I mentioned, Everbowl. Craft superfood chain. I don't know, acai bowls, smoothies, very simple. I knew nothing about restaurants. I sold my last company. It was 2015. I was kind of bored, driving my wife and kid crazy, trying the retirement deal. My wife, after 4 months, said, "Get the hell out of the house. You are driving me crazy." And one of my passions is superfoods and trying to stay young as long as I can. So I couldn't find an acai bowl anywhere. It was 2015, and so I said, I'll just start an acai bowl store, not knowing anything about restaurants. And all I said is, I'm going to make food that is delicious. And then I said, okay, how do I start my business? And I know we're all past the start phase, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. But I had to identify what is the business case, the problem. And I realized that there are 4 reasons why no one eats healthy or doesn't make a healthy eating decision. And I came up with all those excuses, and I narrowed it down to 4. You won't eat healthy because it's too expensive, it doesn't taste good, it doesn't fill you up, or you can't get it. But if there's an option that is filling, delicious, affordable, and accessible, you'll take it every time over the bad-for-you product. The problem is, fast food is affordable, filling, delicious, and accessible. It's just bad for you. So I'm trying to create a different medium. The average American eats fast food 3.2 times a week. I want that business. That was the case. So everything I'm doing in my restaurant is to solve this. These are the people wearing white passing basketball for me. This is it, right here. Every decision is, how does it affect these 4 things for us to grow and scale? Just some pictures of what it looks like. But what are my repeatable business problems? Number 1, I opened my first restaurant in 2016. It cost me $308 to build, $310,000 to build. That's expensive. I was going to self-fund. I want to go grow 100 of these. Because if we go back, sorry, I'm now realizing it's right here and I don't have to keep my head that way. Accessible. I need to open a lot of restaurants. If it's $320,000 for a smoothie shop and I'm going to self-fund this project and I want to open 100, that's a lot of millions of dollars that I would have to invest in this business. Number 2, restaurants are risky. If I pick a bad location, I just sunk a lot of capital. You know how many acai bowls I have to sell to make $300,000 profit to recoup that investment? A lot.
Plus the permitting is very hard.
Yes, plus all the other problems. But I make about $1 profit per bowl, so I need a lot of bowls sold to make my money back, assuming everything goes well. And that's after paying rent and all of the other expenses. But why does it cost $300,000 to build a smoothie shop? Like, take a step back, because most entrepreneurs there go, oh, I need to go raise a lot of money. So what would they do if they were me, and what are my competitors doing? Raising money. I have this idea, it's Everbowl, it's great, give me your money. And we'll do this together. And everyone plows their money in, and we go open another restaurant, and we continue the problem of $300,000 expensive restaurants across the country. I don't think that way. Vertical integration is saying that's my repeatable business problem of opening a lot of stores. What can I do to either bring down the cost to open a restaurant by partnering with a GC or a construction company or figuring out what could change it? And then I said, okay, let me think about what does construction companies do and why is it so expensive? Because it's really not. The truth is, it's not. So you take a minute, you go on your piece of paper and you spend some real time thinking about it. And you come to the conclusion it's expensive because GCs have to make their profit. They hire subs. Those subs have to make their profit. They have to buy the materials. The material manufacturer has to make the profit. Net, 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 net. I get to pay everybody's profits. And I spent $300,000 to build a smoothie shop. So I started my own construction company called WeBuild, simply to just build my Everbowls, because I was going to build 100 of them. I don't need to sell any clients. I don't need to make a lot of money doing it. I need to save money. So it's not a make money business. It's a save money business. Now I know the next question. What do you know about construction? Nothing. I don't put things together. I'm the least handy guy in this room. I don't put anything together. If you give my kids when they were young a toy, my wife put it together. I don't do and use tools. That was never my thing. But I don't need to, because you know what I can do? I can go to the company that just built my first restaurant, and I went to the young man, Jake, who was the main guy who was there all the time working for somebody else, and I said, hey, Jake, are you interested in an employment opportunity? He's like, what do you mean? I need a president of WeBuild. You want to be the president of a brand new construction company? And he goes, well, what do I have to do? I'm like, do exactly what you just did over and over and over again. And he looked at me kind of funny. He's like, yeah, I would love to have a promotion and a pay raise and a growth opportunity. And so I took Jake. Jake became the president of WeBuild, and now I have the guy who, I don't need to do a resume, and I don't need to do an interview. The interview was, he already did it for me. It worked. He knew what he was doing. And I said, Jake, all I need you to do is help me figure out how to make these cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. Fast forward, I can build an Everbowl for $65,000 today. And as a result of that exercise, it didn't happen 300 to 65. We got incremental improvements. But now I get the power of being vertically integrated because Jake only builds Everbowls, which means now I'm getting economies of scale, I'm getting efficiencies, I'm getting learnings, because he's not going from an Everbowl to a Taco Bell to a gym to anywhere. He doesn't get to repeat the process and say, you know, it takes me a lot of time and my team a lot of time to do this. If we change the material or we do this or we buy it in bigger bulk, we can keep cutting. And now he is thinking about my business and focusing on basketballs, and I get to save money, and I get to continue to open more Everbowls for less money. And I get to scale my restaurant. And if I pick a bad location, I don't lose $300,000, I lose $80,000 or $100,000. I've just cut what's called CapEx. The capital required to build just got cut by 2/3 or more. Do you know how dangerous that made me as an upstart restaurant chain in a superfood market? Because I could go open right next door to a competitor. They spent $300, I spent $100. Cash on cash return becomes very different. I could put 3 in a market and be the Starbucks. Remember when Starbucks was growing? They were on like every street corner and across the street and in the Vaughn's shopping center? And you're like, what is going on? Well, they were just cannibalizing the market. And they had the capital to do it, and they basically, unfortunately, knocked out most mom and pop coffee shops back then. There's a resurgence now, but at the time it was a hell of a good strategy if you wanted to grow a coffee chain. And it made them very scary and dangerous. It also made them grow into what we know today, which is Starbucks. That's scale. So instead of me focusing on making money, I was focusing on saving money, because a dollar saved is way more important than a dollar earned. It's way easier, it's way more important. Because you need cash. Cash is your utility, it's your option. Because as an entrepreneur and a leader, when you run out of options, you go out of business. So when COVID happens, the companies that didn't win are the ones that had no more options. And for me, it's all about having options. But what's my second problem? I'm importing acai from Brazil. And just so you understand how this process works, a human, and I've done it, climbs a tree, hand picks acai, shimmies down the tree, takes it on a little boat to a market where it's picked up, it's brought to a facility where it's now taken off and turned into this pulp. It has to be immediately frozen because it has a less than 48-hour dry shelf life, which is why you don't see acai in a grocery store sitting there for you to buy and take home. Then it has to be shipped on a frozen container through the ocean from Brazil to a port here in America, taken in by now American labor, and brought to me wherever I am. Well, that is expensive. And that is why acai bowls are expensive. So how do I help myself either, again, going back to my 4 challenges, cost. How do I compete with McDonald's $5 Happy Meal? Very hard. It's not a commodity where I have all the benefits of cows everywhere in America and I can own all the farms. I can't make acai here. I have to get it in Brazil. It's the only place in the world. Well, I started my own import and manufacturing company. I went down to Brazil. I made relationships. I met with my own factories, I invested in the people down there, and I started Unevolved Products, where now I import my own superfoods, I bring them in bulk, where I can control the cost in the supply chain, and it allowed me to bring down or protect my margins on my acai. Now how do I do that? Well, the distributor who I was originally buying from became a friend, and I said, his name was Marshall, and I said, Marshall, here's the deal. I can't keep buying them. It's too expensive. And you're selling the same acai to me and all my competitors. I have no differentiation in my brand. So I have 2 choices. Either I'm going to go down there and figure it out because I'm a smart guy and there's the internet and it's not that hard, or I'm going to pay you a very small margin on everything I do. Bring me down there, give me the introductions. I'm going to invest my own capital. It'll be my company, but I will give you a partnership for helping me. So it wasn't an acquisition, it was a partnership. He chose the latter. He took me to Brazil. He introduced me to all the people down there. He speaks fluent Portuguese, so it was wonderful. And he took me and helped me build Unevolved Products. And I still, to this day, give him a small margin on all of our acai. And he was going to lose me as a customer either way. But he recognized that I wasn't bluffing. Right? I'm going to do this. And it made sense to do this. So I was able to start Unevolved Products. So this is the 3 main companies in the Everwheel, which is our vertically integrated restaurant chain. We build stuff, Unevolved Products, and Everbowl franchise. Well, Evermore is now franchised. We weren't franchising at the time. And this is how I ran my business. So by March 18th, 2020, I had 28 corporate locations in 2 states. I had never thought of franchising, wasn't going to franchise, and I was vertically integrated, building my restaurants. Now, I'll say something else that occurs because people say, well, I need to raise money. I don't have the resources you have. Well, you know how you raise money? By asking people for lighter or rocket fuel or lighter fuel for an already built machine. Nobody wants to give you money to build a rocket ship. I want to give you money to put fuel in the rocket ship that's sitting there already ready to go. Right? Growth capital is the easiest capital to raise. Well, how do you attract growth capital? You're in a position where I get to go speak to potential investors when I need or want money and say, well, why should I invest in Evermore? Well, here, you like the product? Yeah, but restaurants are risky. Well, let me tell you how I've de-risked this investment. I control my own supply chain and I have the cheapest acai in America. It's proprietary to us. No one else is going to have it. I can build a restaurant for 1/3 the cost of our competitors, which means your risk is now turned into 1 restaurant. I get to build 3 with your money for the price of 1. So I only have to be right 2 out of 3 times and we're crushing it. And now all of a sudden they're looking at it as a business and not a restaurant, because restaurants are risky investments. They are. 9 out of 10 restaurants fail. We all know that. I don't have a restaurant group. We're not a restaurant. We're a system. We are a machine, and we are an everwheel. And that is how we vertically integrated at that point. Now, why is this all important? Because I had a plan, like every other entrepreneur and business leader, and sets a 1-year, 3-year, 5-year, 10-year, 20-year goal. My goal was to open 100 Everbowls, never franchise, because I didn't believe in franchising, and just control this whole thing. And this was a little side project that I started because I was bored. That was my plan. Well, March 18th, 2020, COVID happened. And in that moment, I had to shut down and for temporarily 28 stores, lay off over 500 people. It was one of the worst days in my professional career because this whole plan of mine at that moment, nobody knew what was going on. And in Southern California, where I live, it felt very scary. We didn't know what we know today. We didn't have that visibility. So what happens? Well, a lot of my competitors either went out of business, EDIL, stopped growth, laid people off. Same thing I did. But I'm a leader. I don't get that privilege. I don't get that opportunity to just go home and collect unemployment or, checks from the government and wait for my boss to come back and tell me we're back or things are good. I made commitments. I have investors. I have a brand. This is my passion. This is my project. So now I have options because of my vertical integration. So what could I do? I laid everybody off. I called my 3 other executives and I said, let's meet tomorrow in our office. 2 of them showed up. 1 didn't. He said, you laid me off and I'm getting paid. I'm not coming in. His choice. Can't argue with it because I understand it's life. The other 2 that came in, we said, I wrote on the wall, what are our options? Now, potentially, yes. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm the dumbest guy in the room, and that's my goal on my teams. And one of my executives, Eric, came up with a brilliant idea. He said, Jeff, we have 40,000 pounds of superfood sitting in 28 restaurants, which could be mini little, think of it like ghost kitchens that we know of today, which didn't really exist then, and we could deliver superfoods to all of our existing customers that are at home, because everyone was at home, wanting to eat and ordering DoorDash and all this stuff. I'm like, great, how are we going to do that? He's like, well, we can spin up a website on Shopify and call it Later Bowls. That's a good idea. So on March 19th, we started a company called Later Bowls, a website called Later Bowls, where we would basically go on to laterbowls.com from Everbowl, and you'd say, I want 5 acai bowls and 3 pitaya bowls, and we would put 10 frozen bowls in a box with granola and all the little extra fun accoutrements that we would give you in the store, and we would drive them to your house 2 days later. Basically like, all those delivery services you see today. And it started just to do something which is stay busy, keep momentum moving, don't stop, because momentum breeds momentum. And as you keep walking, you will see things that will happen. It's called just-in-time learning. Things just need to happen instead of sulking and doing the pity party, which I do. And I have a 5-minute pity party that I allow myself to do because it's important. I really do. I set a timer on my phone for 5 minutes. I cry, I scream, I curse. Why me? I'm a victim. The alarm goes off and I'm not a victim anymore. That's right. It's true. I would be lying if I said it was only 5 minutes on March 18th. It was a little longer. It's okay. But March 19th, I wasn't a victim anymore. And I gave that time to that feeling I needed to give. Because if you never allow yourself to feel the emotions that are natural, they're going to come at you at the worst time. You're going to have like hyperventilating while I'm up here with you because I didn't pay attention to it, right? But number two, don't stay a victim too long, because you're a leader, and that's the choice we make to be leaders. Leaders have to lead, you have to go. And it doesn't mean you have to come up with every idea, you have to enable your team to do it, and when you have options, smart people on your team are going to be creative and smart. And so, I got a little ahead of myself. But anyway, that's what happened on March 18th. The second thing that also happened, I'm going to go a little out of order, I apologize, my slides are a little backwards. We're going to go forward to come back. Here is unevolved products, me in Brazil climbing a tree, getting acai, going through the factory. 2020 COVID pivot. That's the later bowls. So we start to sell. And what was really awesome is with the loyalty program, I simply sent a blast message to all of our customers that were in 3 and 4 mile radiuses of our 28 boxes. Got a freezer van. Me and my other 2 executives would wake up in the morning on Wednesdays and Fridays, because we delivered on Thursdays and Saturdays. We would stuff the boxes, the 3 of us. We would get it in the van and we traded off who got to be a driver that day. And we did that for 3 weeks. And we were selling bowls, and I was able to make some money, and I was able to start to refill the coffers, and I didn't have to pay rent, thankfully, because everyone had that 60-day you don't pay me rent COVID thing till you pay me later kind of figured out. But it kept us thinking. Well, as I'm driving this van, realizing, gosh, this is a lot of work. We got to hire people just to do this now, because I don't want to do this every Thursday and Saturday. And 2, it's becoming a lot of sales. I said, well, if this works around our 28 stores, why wouldn't this work around the country? So I used relationship capital. I started to make some phone calls to friends and people I know. Who knows anyone at QVC? Who knows anyone at the Food Network? Like, how do I get on one of these things? And a friend of mine introduced me to another guy who knew the buyer at QVC, and I sent the buyer some product. I said, I need to get on QVC. I got on to QVC, and we sold $7 million of product in 17 airings. $8 million of product in 17 airings, and we were sold out all of them. In our first airing, we sold out in 7 minutes. And all of a sudden, I just made $8 million selling later bowls on QVC. Only because we had 40,000 pounds of superfoods, because we had vertically integrated a very important component of our restaurant chain. And now we all of a sudden have a new business, because guess what happened when you start to sell product around the country on QVC and they like it? Do you franchise? I don't have an Everbowl near me. You're only in Southern California? You gotta open one of those here. And I got 500 franchise requests coming through the door, having never uttered the word franchise. So by August of 2020, we were starting to think about franchising. And January 1st, 2021, we pivoted to become a franchise operation. And why did we do that? Well, A, we had customer demand. 2, guess what? In franchising, I only learned this after I started to discuss franchising, franchisees and franchisors, the franchisor is like us, and the franchisee is someone who buys the company from us to become an Everbowl franchisee. There's something called a cash-on-cash return. If you spend $300,000 to open an Everbowl, or $400,000 to open an Everbowl, you should make $100,000 profit. So every 4 years, you should get a recoupment of your entire investment. And that's what McDonald's recommends and all these big franchisees. So that's like the industry standard. Can I get a cash-on-cash return in 4 years?
Jeff, can you repeat that?
Yes. The cash-on-cash? Yeah, so in franchising, a good industry standard cash-on-cash return is 4 years. So whatever your upfront investment to build it, to pay the franchise fees, get the training, get it open, if you spend $1 million on a McDonald's, you should make 250 grand a year or better. That's considered good. So I was like, oh, well, what's ours? Well, I can build at my cost for under 100, so I could probably sell to them for 150. My competitors are 300, so that means even if I'm half as good as my competitors, we have the same cash-on-cash return. But if I'm equal to my competitors in sales, I give you a 2-year cash-on-cash return. Well, that's exciting. I have my own proprietary products, so that's good for a franchise. I control the supply chain, so that's good for franchise. So let's do it. So we started to franchise. And that only happened because of QVC. Well, you fast forward to what that meant, and now I went from 28 stores in March 18th of 2020 to almost 400 units sold today, and over 100 stores around the country, and we were going to be opening 1 store a week. And we're able to do that because of the franchising, and now we're a big franchise operation, which I had never planned on being, no vision of it, because I had vertically integrated those components and had options to navigate as the world kept sucker punching us. Well, if you remember in 2021, the port of Long Beach had boats pretty much set as islands, and nobody wanted to bring them in, and nothing was coming in. And even Chipotle's and all of them were running out of stuff that they normally have because you couldn't get product anywhere. Well, I had my own product. So we didn't have as many problems. And I had competitors saying, hey, Jeff, will you sell me acai? I mean, I could. I'm not against it, but I am against it, so we'll see. But I could. But then something else kind of cool happened, because I'm speaking about it, now we're franchising, so now everyone's getting exposure to the brand. And I've always been speaking, and so I'm starting to talk about what's going on and doing all these things. And I didn't tell you before entrepreneurship, I went to law school as a sports agent very briefly, and then I had a child in law school and pivoted outside of that world, so I have a lot of sports relationships. Well, anyway, long story short, Drew Brees is a very good friend of mine, and he wanted to become one of our first franchisees, and once we were able to show him our model and why it made sense, he became a franchisee of Everbowl, and he now has 160 locations in 9 states. Well, Shaq was interested in being a franchise, and I went through the process with Shaquille O'Neal for a while, and we're dancing and we're doing the whole thing, and as a result of that process, Shaq said to me, it's not going to work out. He sold 50% of the Shaquille O'Neal brand to another public company called Authentic Brands, so they both have to sign off, and he was launching his first concept called Big Chicken, and he said it didn't make sense for me to open Everbowl while I'm launching Big Chicken. But I was very intrigued about that WeBuild thing you have. Is it possible that you would be able to build Big Chicken for me? Well, I don't know why I couldn't. And A, you don't say no to Shaq, he's too big. Because I had said no to like friends before, but I was like, no, Shaq, I'll do it. I'm going to fast forward to that and come back. And so we built Big Chicken for Shaq in our office. They came down, we started to look at it, and so then we started to build for Big Chicken. And then it was like, well, wait, if we can build for Big Chicken, and we can build for Everbowl, who else could we build for, right? And so then we started to build for Capriotti's, Wing Zone, gyms, all these other concepts, and then WeBuild became its own company, and now we have a 50,000 square foot facility in Georgia where we manufacture all of the trade elements. We actually do everything soup to nuts, and that's one of the WeBuild differences. We are vertically integrated at WeBuild, so we do all the manufacturing of everything FF&E you see inside of a brand, whether it's a gym, restaurant, or service business. We then build it at scale and inventory it, we procure at scale, and then we deliver it, and then we use our own people, and we GC it, we do all the MVPs, and we take everything soup to nuts, and I still can't put together a little bicycle. And this is starting to show you why vertical integration is so powerful, because it's not always going to turn into that. I mean, WeBuild is going to do 9 figures next year. It's going to be bigger than Everbowl, based on the contracts we already have, because guess what? Everbowl has 120 Everbowls to build. Big Chicken has 75, Capriotti's has 75, Wing Zone has 75, Stretch Zone has 50, Squeeze Massage has 100. All of the other brands that we're working with, some that I'm under NDA not to tell you, but you'll be able to figure it out if you go to our website. And it's evergreen. It doesn't just apply to acai bowls. So we can build and do for anybody and anything. And that business was never even a thought in my head. A construction company? No. Work for these companies? No. But opportunity comes because I was vertically integrated and I was set up for it. Now, are there some vertically integrated pieces that didn't work? Yes. I started my own distribution company back when I had 10 stores. I put my own freezers in my headquarters. I bought freezer trucks, and why am I going to pay Cisco to deliver this stuff? Well, I got a little over my skis on that one because that's expensive and I couldn't make it work. I wasn't saving money, I was losing money. So I shut it down and kept moving on, but I'm not sitting here talking about it didn't work out. I looked at my repeatable business problems. How could I vertically integrate? I got a little aggressive because the first 2 were working really well, so I went to distribution. Then I got punched a little bit and I slowed it down. But it's okay because through the vertical integration side, I'm attractive now to all these other brands. So as a result of that, we get to start to have the marketing side. I get a ton of free press and marketing. I get to come up on stages and talk to people like you because of some of this stuff. I get to work with celebrities. So whether it's Gary Vee, who's now a shareholder in our company and wants to be part of it. Why? Because successful people want to be part of successful stuff. Yeah. That's it. And they want to be associated with brands that are high growth and put their name on it, because whether or not they're a huge part or a small part, being part of Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or Google or Amazon is, I'm part of that company. That's cool. Jeff's acai bowls, not really cool. A system, exciting. Well, then Gary gets involved. That opens more doors for us, which guess what? Brings in more Everbowl customers, brings in more Everbowl franchisees, brings in more WeBuild customers, which those 3 things enable our Everwheel to grow bigger, 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 and bigger. Same thing with, and I'm a Laker fan, but recent NBA champion, Jason Tatum. I'm going to give you your moment. But Jason, he just came and got involved in the company. He's now opening 5 restaurants in Boston and became an investor in the company as well. And he just launched his own product called, oh, why is it not showing it to you guys? Sorry. He just launched his own product called Small Wins, which is a vegan, plant-based candy company that he did with his son. And as a result of that, he was excited because with our distribution channel, with all of our stores, it was a natural synergy to bring it into Everable. So that was kind of fun. And then because we have our own import and manufacturing company, we're also able to start to implement and create new spin-offs with our QVC partnerships, and now we can come direct to consumer. So we launched, I have 2 here, and I'm sorry, I'll get better. A coffee company. Didn't work out, but this is just an example. We stopped selling this, but I launched it a few years ago. Superfood infused coffee. Didn't hit. It's okay. I was competing with Starbucks, but it gave me the options to try. It was very cheap for me to do it, and it gave me more punches. It gave me more rods and reels in the ocean. If I go fishing with you, and there's 10 rods and reels on the boat, I'm not putting 2 in the water because there's 2 of us. We were putting all 10 in the water because fishing is boring if fish aren't biting. Well, business is boring if you ain't getting opportunity.
That's true.
I want to win, and I want to ensure we win. And I don't guarantee we're going to be the best, but I guarantee we're going to try the hardest. And we're going to try to create luck in every which way we can. We also just recently launched our Everwich, which is our basis inside of our granola-baked cookies. Vegan. It's a replacement for the ice cream cookies. This is available at all Everables. This will change your life, honestly, because it tastes like an ice cream cookie sandwich, and it's literally healthy-ish for you. So, because of that stuff, as I was mentioning, we get a lot of free press, which now means I don't, by the way, you know how much dollars I've ever spent advertising the word Everable franchise? 0. My cost to acquire a lead is 0. I have never advertised you can buy an Everable franchise. There's never been a digital marketing ad. Now we are about to start, but we've never done it. I don't go to trade shows with big signs that say come Everable, franchise with Everable. We've just never had to. We've utilized the free press. Think of it like a snowball rolling down a mountain. And it keeps getting bigger as it picks up more snow because every new customer brings us to, we just opened a new store yesterday, day 1 in Hudson, Ohio. Sold 5,000 bowls in Hudson, Ohio. Or $5,000, excuse me, in Hudson, Ohio, day 1, which is a lot of bowls at $10 a bowl. We got 4 franchise leads from that day. It's been open 1 day. So that store, that franchisee paid us to market our brand together and him make money in Hudson, us make money. And guess what? When he buys a franchise fee is $37,000 and that covers the training and all that. They pay us that. But then I build the store for them for half the price or less of what a competitor does, which means I now get to make more money and save them money. So we both win. I then get to sell them product cheaper than they can get it on the street, which means I save my franchisees money and I make money together. So corporately, we're making money at each step of the way. And as a franchisee, as much as you're like, well, is that fair? You want me to be strong. Because if I'm not strong, I can't give you the resources to support you. But you don't want me to be so strong and you're broke. That's the dichotomy that everyone is trying to figure out. How do I make sure that you're a strong partner as a franchisee, but I don't want to be broke doing it. So I need to make money. So how do we both do it? And by vertically integrating our system, I can make a lot of money and so can you. And if I can't make a lot of money and I have to discount, I can because I have the room to do it. And that is another power of it. So you get a lot of press. I'm wrapping up here on time, so I have one last thing I want to share with you, which is my last life hack. As an entrepreneur business owner, so many times we all hear, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time. I'm going to change all that right now. It's the power of 4 minutes. The average snooze button is 8 minutes. The average American hits snooze 2 times a day. That means you're spending 16 minutes snoozing. Well, if you do something for 4 minutes a day for 365 days of the year, that is 24 hours, which means every time you hit snooze, that is 2 full days of your life if you do it every day, which means if you just don't hit snooze and you spend those 4 or 8 minutes Googling how to import superfoods from Brazil, talking and making a phone call that you didn't want to make, sending that email or researching that one thing you were going to do, listening to 8 minutes of a podcast or an instructional YouTube video or whatever to learn. I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen tomorrow, but a year is going to go by whether you snooze or you don't. And if you do this for an entire year, you pick up 1 or 2 free days of anything you want. If you want to learn how to yo-yo for 4 minutes a day, you'll be very good at the end of the year. So instead of, to what Allison also, she was mentioning it earlier, we think that things have to happen right away and we get discouraged, but it might be 10 months from now. This is how you get that time. You have it. You're in your car. You're on a break. You're a leader, so you can choose how you want to devote that time, but when you realize what 4 minutes a day means, I just want you to understand you're making a conscious decision that I'm willing to sleep an extra 2 days a year because I want to. Great, do it. That's fine. But I don't want to hear I don't have time. Everyone has time. We all have 24 hours. It's how you use your time that dictates whether or not you're winning in your business, losing. Winning in your relationships, or losing. And I recommend, and I implore all of you to take advantage of rooms like this. I say all the things I said to you, but really, my relationships is how I've been successful. All the money I've ever made in my life, 90% of it is who I know, not what I know. It's the ability for me to make a phone call and get on a QVC. It's the ability for Allison and me to get the opportunity for her to come on my show and help my show, and for me to get to come here and meet all of you. It's not because I make an acai bowl or I know how to do this. It's not what you do that matters. It's who you know, and it is about giving first. How can I help other people? Because if I help all of you go make tens of millions of dollars in all your business, I get to be the beneficiary of all of you winning in hiring more people and building the economy and having cool products and services available. And if I'm a small part in that and you remember me and I ever need something and I call you, you're going to say yes. So you should be a giver first, and you've got to remember that. So I do have a book. It's called Relationship Bank Account. I'm not selling any books. I don't make my money in books. Don't worry about it. But I teach how I was able to curate those relationships. I do have a show, as Allison had mentioned before. It's the Jeff Fenster Show. Allison got to be a guest. It's going to be airing very soon. I really encourage you to, it's not about me, the show. It's always about our guests and successful people and what has made them successful, because everyone has a success formula. And when you understand that formula, you can apply it to your business. You got to figure out which formula works for you. So I have 30 seconds left, and I just want to remind all of you, all you take away from today is the gorilla. Please remember, whatever you're focusing on, A, you might be wrong, and B, don't miss the gorilla. That is what puts us out of business. That is what creates duress. If you can identify the gorilla and implore your team to be counting the basketballs, and you can focus on the big picture and how you can enable your business to survive against anything, you'll win. If I can ever do anything for any of you, I'm always available. You can reach out, and I will be more than happy to help. And it was great to meet everybody.
Hey everyone, first I want to thank all of you for tuning in. And if you guys haven't heard about my new book, Relationship Bank Account, click the link in the show notes or search the title on Amazon. This book is packed with all my secrets to success in both relationships and life. Make sure to pick up a copy, and if the book helps you on your journey, let us know by leaving a review. I appreciate all of you and can't wait to see you on the next one.